Hey Aries, this is going to be a 2023 forecast for your sign. Using the tarot deck, we're going to look at what's coming up for you on a month-by-month basis. Let's jump right into it with January. So this is the Eight of Pentacles, the very first card that came through in the whole spread. I see that as being really significant. Something is being worked on in January. You are a work in progress at the beginning of the year, but you make massive strides in the first quarter of the year. January, February, and March is a real period of advancement for whatever you're working on. For some of you, it's going to be something that is life-changing. The eights in tarot are about transformation. When we break through the energy of the eight, whatever it may be, the Eight of Pentacles in this case, we're not the same as we were before. So whatever you're working on in January, just know, Aries, that this is going to change your life. There's something that you're pouring your heart and soul into. And if this doesn't manifest in the most dramatic and obvious way, you have put the work in, and that in of itself is something that can be changing your life for you. The Eight of Pentacles cleared up by the Two of Wands. Massive progress is being made in the month of January. This could be a month where you change jobs, change what you're working on, pursue a new career. This could also be a month where you move and change around and travel for work potentially. There's something that you care very much about in January, and you don't mind putting all your focus towards this. This is going to be something that opens many doors for you, many possibilities. The Two of Wands gives you options. It gives you the opportunity to expand your horizon, to network, to link up with people that can help you achieve your goals. So the energy of January is really supportive. It's supportive in whatever line of work you're doing. It's supportive in making plans. You have a clear vision for what you want in January. This could very much just be some of that beginning of the calendar year sort of archetypal getting down to business planning and assessing and strategizing. That comes up a lot for us on the collective around the beginning of the year. Sometimes people make resolutions and whatnot. This is just an energy of applying yourself in January. You are not holding yourself back from applying yourself to your goals in January, and many contacts, contracts, and associations begin to appear for you in January that become really useful. From the clearing up of the Two of Wands in January, the card for February is the Three of Wands. So that's a beautiful and natural progression from the Two of Wands in January to the Three of Wands in February. So we're seeing progress being made at this point. The threes in tarot are about growth. Okay, so now at this point, you have more of what you started with in January. You have maybe more plans in place. Maybe you have a tangible result by now. Maybe you are sitting pretty and watching these ships come in. There is this quality of something being a sure thing for you in February. So you're almost guaranteed it because you have been putting in that focus, that commitment, that effort, fine-tuning, perfecting is the Eight of Pentacles, and now you have something to show for it. This could be you putting your product or yourself out in the world a little bit more in February. At the same time, this Three of Wands is indicating more travel and expansion in the month of February. February could be a month where you are exploring far away scenes, or you are having a cross-cultural experience of some sort. Maybe if you're not physically on the move, you are planning your next moves. There's a lot of carefulness, a lot of excitement, a lot of planning, and something really building to a crescendo in March from January and February. So it's a very much the start of the year is about kind of seeing what you're working with and how you're going to make it more, and actually coming on leaps and bounds with something. Something does come out of that planning energy and really comes into manifestation, into the real world. The Death card is clearing that energy up in February. So this is the first major arcana card that we're seeing in the year so far. The first period of intense soul growth. Now, the Death card is an intensely transformative and reinventing or evolutionary card. It's very much associated with growth and change, but when change is about, and that's the essence of the month of February, there is this kind of feeling that I may have to leave something behind in order to progress even further on your merry way. So for some of you, you will be taking a life-changing trip in February, or some of you are going to have a life-altering change and shift in perspective. You're changing how you navigate your future. You're changing how you navigate your present. So there's something about evolving through, I guess, expansion, through experience, through excitement. And this is really building up until into March, which is one of the biggest months of the year for you, I see. So the Death card would be telling me that what you've been working on in January, I do think January and February are linked just because of that 2 and 3 of Wands tying the story together. Whatever you're working on in January and February, it's something that can change the course, right? And it really can transform your trajectory so far. You're ready for reinvention, right? And these are Aries cards. We have Mars in Aries and the Sun in Aries. So for some of you, you're going to be like transforming your focus in February and January and February, and transforming yourself to a certain degree. March, 2 major arcana cards, both incredibly optimistic, the Chariot and the Wheel of Fortune. Whatever is in the works in January and February, now it's when it kind of reaches the next level and becomes even more expansive than you could ever imagine in March. March is the month of the leveling up for you, Aries. So Death card, you maybe had to surrender, you had to accept an ending in some way, but it's all here for you to kind of rid yourself of any baggage that would be holding you down on your next upward spiral, your next period of ascension. The Chariot card is that internal soul growth readiness to go to the next level. You have so much determination and willpower in March. It seems like there's absolutely nothing that could be stopping you at that point. You may be dealing with a Cancer or a Sagittarius in March. At the same time, you may be doing something around continued travel. The Chariot card can often represent a car or a journey. You may be hopping on a train, a plane, or a bus and taking off somewhere. The Wheel of Fortune is a Jupiter associated card, and Jupiter can be a lot about travel and cross-cultural experience and higher knowledge and expansion. So what we're seeing here is the possibility for you in February and March, but maybe even mainly in March, to really explore the big bad world out there and get yourself out into the world. If you aren't exploring and traveling and taking many trips, or sort of a longer destination sort of a trip is coming up for me, you're really expanding your horizons, your worldview. Jupiter is very much associated with the higher mind and philosophical leanings and higher learning and knowledge. So this could be just very much a leveling up in terms of your beliefs and your understandings in March. So your mind is open, and when you're in this place of acceptance that you deserve to be on this upward spiral, like this feels so right, it feels so natural, then you align yourself with the frequency of receiving all of this opportunity and all of this growth. March looks like a really expansive month. For some of you, it's going to be the sum or culmination of everything you've been working on in January and February. In April, things get a little more tense. Typically, after a period of such massive expansion can come a certain amount of a contraction. It's just how the universe tends to balance things. It's only natural. The 8 of Swords is also a transformative card. Like we've seen our 8 of Pentacles, we know our 8s are transformative. What's the transformation here? It's getting out of this trap in the mind and how you can be your own worst enemy at times, Aries. So in April, there is an awareness around where you are facing certain turmoils. Perhaps you feel limited, you feel stuck. something perhaps is said, the Page of Wands or rods in this deck, something maybe is said that really gets you down, or it gets you into your head. Something that you just can't forget about seems to be spoken about in April, and it just niggles away at you. And for some of you, it has a possibility that it could even like chip away at your confidence, or start to make you feel small and even play small as a result. This person is bound, and they feel limited, and they're not seeing the situation clearly, because if they could, they know that they could actually navigate a way out of the problems or the trap or the feeling of limitation or restriction. When we feel stuck, it can feel like we'll never feel that liberation again. Sometimes people can say certain things, and the Page of Rods has the tendency to be immature sometimes, or blurt something out. So take what people say with a pinch of salt. Remember, people don't see you as you really are all the time. They see you as they are. And there can be a lot of projection with the Page of Rods and the Eight of Swords. Other than that, there could be more travel. Like, this looks like a year for Aries that travel and trips and planning and seeing parts of the world does seem to come up in a bigger way for you in the first half of the year. Do I have much of that in the second half of the year? Not as much at all. So the first half of the year could be a little more travel oriented. It's about a reinvention, and it's about the good times rolling. So when you get to April, it's almost like there's a bit of frustration, because things at the beginning of the year have been just like all systems go, no stopping you. Then you reach a block. Perhaps for some, it will be test of sorts to make sure that you really truly believe that you do deserve all this abundance and growth, and you are limitless to a certain extent. So you've been experiencing that. The Death card shows you that you're not afraid to let things go when the time is right. The Chariot card and the Wheel of Fortune in March is the sort of validation that you are on the right path. You are in the right place at the right time. The Wheel of Fortune is incredibly synchronistic. So meeting the right people, being in the right place, this is all just validation for you, at least, that you are on the right path. But sometimes doubt creeps in. You're only human, and that's what happens in April, I think. You may begin to psych yourself out, or allow yourself to be psyched out by something that somebody says. So coming into May, you're fighting with yourself, I think. Or for some, the Five of Wands is a struggle on the external. So there's two possibilities I'm seeing here the most clearly. There is, well, let's just call it a conflict of sorts, okay? Overall, there is some sort of lack of harmony and conflict in the month of May. This, for some, could be an internal conflict about the Empress card, your worth, what you deserve. So there could be some sort of a conflicting vision about your self-worth, and you may be doubting what it is that you truly deserve to have, and don't you deserve to be happy, you may start to say to yourself. The Empress card really just reinforces that absolutely you do, Aries. Everybody here on this planet should strive for happiness. The Empress card is telling you that you may be fighting with yourself about what you deserve, or you may be conflicted in your own mind about your own feelings of self-worth. This could be linked to the self-limiting belief that presents itself for some of you in April. On an external level, you may actually have to come up against somebody, be it a boss, be it a partner in your life, to kind of like say to them, like, hey, I'm worth so much more than this. Maybe some of you are going to have to fight for more money, for better hours. You just kind of have to assert yourself. Something is very assertive in the month of May. You may feel that tensions are rising somehow. There may be something that you just can't help yourself. There could be, there could be an argumentative streak here, Aries. And the Empress card, it's all rooted in a place of trying to align yourself with the blessings that you deserve. Whether or not you believe in these blessings, that's going to create a conflict if you don't, because truly the Empress card, soul growth, is here to remind you that you absolutely deserve everything that you want and more. So the only thing that is ever going to get in your way of creating the life and having the life that you want is a certain amount of limitation in the mind. This is coming from, of course, a more privileged position, but the Empress card archetypally suggests that every single person born on this planet deserves happiness and fulfillment and abundance. It is an abundant planet, believe it or not. So that seems to be coming through with the fight for what you deserve. So there might be a conflict, and if there is, and do we ever win in a conflict? We also have to kind of accept that some things aren't worth it. Like, is it worth the stress? But I believe that you come out in a really good position in the month of May. Whatever that high intensity drama relates to for your month of May, it'll be different for all of you, I'd imagine. The Empress card suggests that you're still sitting pretty. You're still in a very comfortable position and a very well respected position. This doesn't take a knock-on effect in a bad way around your heart space. Your heart remains open. You need to clear yourself of something in the mind in April, something that is, it could be something somebody says that just really plays on your mind and gets you in on yourself. But come May, it's like about, well, no, that didn't knock me back. I still love myself. I still love others. I may even still love that person that brought me down. And the Empress card, it's beautiful. It's one of my favorite cards in the deck. May has its blessings, but anything that's worth having may be worth fighting for. That could be what the message of May is for some. You're getting a lot of major arcana cards, February, March, May, and then again in June. So there is a bigger period of soul growth coming up for you in the first half of the year. You're ready for this, Aries. The Sun card. The Sun card is a very optimistic and happy card in general. However, the Three of Swords is here, just dampening that optimism ever so slightly, or a lot. The Sun card then might start to mean that instead of this radiating joy, which I hope there are many moments of that experience for you in June, there is also the clarifying, exposing energy of the Sun card, which kind of relates to the Three of Swords. It's like, okay, the truth is going to out, the light is shining here, the cracks are exposed, and there's really no denying the truth. In June, the Three of Swords can be that penetrating truth where you cannot deny it any further, and the truth sets you free. Look how free and liberated this naked kid on a horse through a field of sunflowers looks. Like, I want to be there. This is the opposite sort of sensation of the limiting feeling in the Eight of Swords card, or the limiting thoughts. This is so joyous and so liberating, but you may have to face up to some harsher truths initially in order to really get the full spectrum of happiness and freedom that is available to you in June. Maybe facing up to harsher truths allows you to live a more authentic expression. This is a card of authenticity. It's a card of creative self-expression. For some of you, you are going to be creating something in the month of, where are we at? June. Okay, so another card that could suggest being in the sun, radiating happiness, warmth, but there's a situation that has to be looked at properly here. You have to really sort of face up to something in June and accept something for what it is. Sometimes we can avoid conflict, right? There may be some of that in the month of, maybe you're saying like, oh, May really took it out of me. Like, I don't know if I can fight anymore. I don't know if I can engage in any drama with anybody anymore. Okay, that's all well and good, and that's your choice. But sometimes when we avoid conflict, it can fester, and eventually we'll have to look at something. And sometimes it is easier to avoid it in the moment, but in the long term, it's probably best to try and face things head on and come up with the solution as quickly as possible, rather than letting something linger and essentially like grow a tail. Okay. The truth shall set you free in June. There's an emotional month then as we begin the second half of the year. We have a couple of cup cards in July, 5 of Cups and the Knight of Cups. Those of you who find yourself in a relationship in July, your partner may do something that gets you down. If it's a close friend, a sibling, a dear person that's dear to you, they may let you down. And it's just kind of a reasonable thing that happens in life. This happens all the time. People disappoint us. It isn't anyone else's job to keep us satisfied or happy. Everybody is out here being a human and making mistakes. Maybe you feel like you let somebody down, but for the most part, I sense this as being you being let down or disappointed by another. It's so frustrating because you're like, okay, the first chapter of the year, if we're doing it on a quarterly basis, January, February, March, it's all systems go, synchronization, progress, adventure, commitment, reinvention. In the second quarter of the year, April, May, and June, you have to start to see where you're self-sabotaging or see where you come into conflict with others. And there is more of a period of restriction in the month of April and May. It's not without its immense blessings at the same time on a deeper level. Day to day, the mundane, maybe a little more challenging in April and May, but underneath it all, the blessings are even maybe more beautiful than the first quarter of the year. You have to look a little harder for them, maybe not, but they're absolutely there, and they are here to bless you with happiness, abundance, self-confidence, authenticity. Beautiful. In July, it's almost like you are disappointed that not everybody can just be vibing as high as you, okay? You're gonna just have to accept people for who they are, and the likelihood that somebody will let you down that you love comes up for me in July for you, okay? It doesn't have to be a romantic partner, but it's somebody that you do have a place in your heart for, and it is not just some random, it's somebody that has let you down. Maybe they flake on you, maybe they disappoint you, maybe they are a romantic interest in your life, or a boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, whatever it may be, and they just don't deliver. They don't deliver on a promise. They take the easy way out. They let you down or disappoint you. You can only be as disappointed as you allow yourself to be, okay? Nobody really has that power to hurt you when we really strip it back, unless they intentionally go after you and maliciously try to work across purposes against you. But a strong sense of self and developing that can really mitigate a lot of the ability to be hurt by another. So it's an emotional month. You're moving through something. For some of you, you have to just remember to keep that heart open like you did in May, even in June, in the face of betrayal or hurt or sorrow. You have to remember to keep that heart open, and you are in control of your mindset, and you have a really strong ability to keep a very positive mindset. So kudos to you, Aries. It seems like you've been doing so much work on yourself at this point. So the Knight of Cups and the 5 of Cups. Forgive is the Knight of Cups energy, because they haven't let their heart close yet, and they know that that's going to really be more beneficial to themselves if they're able to forgive. But of course, if you're moving through something, yes, allow yourself to have that sorrow, that pain. Allow yourself to experience that full range of emotions that are available to us here on our journey of learning and loving and walking each other home. The 5 of Cups, you may be moving through something that feels like a loss in the month of July. It doesn't linger into August. A different scenario presents itself in August. One more thing that I will say is somebody significant in the month of July appears, and for those who are not in a relationship, it could be a new person coming in that is interesting you romantically. And the Knight of Cups is kind of like, sometimes when we're, at a lower ebb, somebody may come into our life. If that's the case, just check in with yourself and make sure that you are ready to embrace a person like that coming into your life. Coming into August, there's a real shift in relation to finances here. The Queen of Pentacles and our Ten of Pentacles, however, in reversed come through. So Pentacle cards deal with money, of course, but they deal with anything tangible and anything that we're, building, energy, something that we can hold, something that is real to us. The Queen of Pentacles is super domesticated. You may be dealing with a maternal figure in your life, even if this is a grandmother, an aunt, or just a friend that's super nurturing to you. The Queen of Pentacles is something about home and hearth. You could be focusing a lot on your home and living situation. This could be a buy, this could be a build, this could be renovation, decorating, even if it's just spending time in your garden. There's something about an investment that's coming up here, investing your time or resources into something maybe secure for yourself. The Ten of Pentacles in reverse. It can be two things. It can be great wealth to the extreme where we're even more than the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. It's like, so much money, but there's some suggestion that you may lose something here. But with the Queen of Pentacles, it's a very abundant and good position to be in. So I can't quite say that everything will be lost. That's not what's coming through. The possibility is that perhaps the actual digits in the bank balance deplete, but that's because you have invested in an extension or buying a home or buying or renting, or even sort of invested in your own security by perhaps taking a course or investing in something that you hope will give you a healthy return eventually. So meanwhile, there is a certain loss of funds or resources. It's not without an investment. So it's not just lost and you're at a complete loss and, oh my goodness, this is terrible. No, you've had to spend to make, or you invest in something. So on one hand, something is missing, but you're getting something in return. It is not a waste. So there's nothing wasted in August. Even if the energy exchange of the resources is shifting and transforming, it is not wasted. And that's what I'm getting reinforced for me for August. So it seems like you're in a good position financially, albeit you maybe have to spend to make, or you make some sort of an investment. Now, the Ten of Pentacles can also be something about reputation. So I would advise Aries not to risk any loss in reputation, especially that you wouldn't want to disappoint any family members. That could be just something that's coming up for you. There may be something of a inheritance or something like that comes up that involves other people's finances. Maybe if your spouse is getting some money, that would be something else that would involve you to a certain extent, although it's like shared resources. So money matters are at the forefront of August. However, they overall look balanced, and for some, I think this is going to manifest as more extreme highs in finances, and others, of course, maybe there are going to be certain losses, but you still have security, and you know what, you're flourishing and thriving, and in the month of August. Okay, in September, we're nearing the end of a cycle on something in the month of September. This is both a cycle that has been very emotional for you and also extremely testing of your perseverance and commitment and dedication. It's been a massive test in getting to where you've been, but by September, you really see how far you've come. We have the Nine of Wands, which is almost at the end of the wand cycle. At this point, though, there's not much more to go. You've already gained the wisdom through the experience. The spiritual lessons have already been learned in the Nine of Wands. It's just about how you are going to express this for yourself. The Nine of Wands sees you never giving up, and you're not throwing the towel in. By September, you know the end is in sight on a certain goal or destination you've been trying to reach thus far. So there will be no giving up. You have a lot of stamina. You are in a very healthy position in the month of September. Physical health and well-being looks great in September. The Ten of Cups just a very harmonious card, as you can see. We have hands held together, raising a glass in unison. The glass has got a freaking rainbow coming out of it, so that looks pretty nice to me. The Ten of Cups would also suggest that you are at the end of a cycle on something emotionally. By September, you've made it. There's been a real turning of a corner now, and I feel like a burden has been lifted. Yeah, sure, it's still something that you know you're going to have to continue working on. You know you're going to always maybe have to keep working on this. Maybe this is something that, you know, it means so much to you. So the effort that will sustain this for you long term, or for however long that you desire it, that has to be sustained. It's not something that you can just say like, oh, that's all working now, let me just forget all about it. Maybe you won't ever want to forget all about it, but this means something that's so, you know, anything that means a lot to us, we want to keep up that effort and keep applying ourselves towards. You get the results though. It's not something that you feel like is a lost cause. You really see the results of your labor. You really see how you get what you put in here, and it's very wonderful. If at this month in September you've been dealing with something on an emotional level that's been taking its toll, by September it seems to be the turnaround, and a lot of optimism coming up in the month of September, and really feeling like you've turned a corner on an emotional issue. For those of you who maybe have been struggling with health issues in this year, not saying I see that whatsoever, but if that is the case, perhaps by September that like real push towards wellness and feeling like yourself again comes up, and you're not going to give up on that either. And I see that emotional health and well-being is very much linked to your stamina and your desire to get to the finish line on this. The end is in sight, the goal is within reach. Don't give up, keep going, it really pays off. Looking at October, we have the Lovers card. So we'll talk about relationships for October. October is eclipse season, as is April and May of this year. For some of you, a new relationship is going to be beginning in October. A relationship may also be ending in October. For the most part, we have an affirmative Ace of Rods or Ace of Wands with this card. So I see a lot of like saying yes. Maybe for some of you, you will be saying yes to a date, a proposal, a relationship. So this is very exciting for me to see. For those of you who are in a relationship, by the time October rolls around, this would suggest to me that there is a flow between you, a commitment, a deepening of the connection, and the Ace of Rods is just very much like, you can't contain the excitement, you can't contain the happiness here that exists around this relationship. So those of you who are in a relationship by October, things are going really well and you seem really happy in this divine union. If you are single come October, again, it may be a month where something begins, and under an eclipse season, if you get with somebody under an eclipse season, believe it, it's meant to be. If you break up with somebody under an eclipse season, it's meant to be. The Lovers card suggests that relationships that are forming are really beautiful and divine. Dare I say soulmate, if you prescribe to this belief or not. The Lovers card, of course, and soulmates alike, of course, don't have to be romantic. These are people that we have made a soul contract with to hook up with, link up with, and be with at some portion of our life spent here. The time will vary for each relationship, but it's here to support you. This is an affirmative relationship. I'm not seeing anything that's negative here. I'm seeing a lot of support, happiness, and growth through the mirroring of a significant relationship. So that's really all I've got to say. For some though, the Lovers card will just be not about love. That might not be on your radar at all in October, but it may represent then a choice for some of you. I wouldn't want to tell you what to do, of course. The Ace of Rods suggests that the choice is yes. The choice is affirmative, exciting. If it excites you, if it fills you with this sort of creative energy or a sort of a fire in your belly or a new initiating force, then I'm inclined to think like yes is the way to go, or like thumbs up, go for it, love it, love October. And you know, to be honest, like October, the nodes are shifting into Aries. The North Node, the True Node, will be moving into Aries in July of 2023 for 18 months. And the nodes are associated with eclipses. So what I'm seeing is for April particularly, a lot of aligned occurrences, beginning and endings in October, as well as April and May, really taking place for you, for your sign Aries. Jupiter, planet of expansion and growth, that is also going to be in the sign of Aries until the month of May. So for the first half of the year, or the first 5 months of the year, you've got Jupiter in your home, in the sign of Aries. So all systems go. January, February, March, you're going to crush it. And then you're just learning how to really embody all of the blessings as that kind of Jupiter in Aries transit comes to a close. You're like, okay, what have I got and what have I been blessed with, and let's just make this a part of my life now, and just it comes naturally. So then we're moving into November. So as clarifying as I guess the month of June is with the Sun card and the Three of Swords, it's like the truth can hurt, but it also sets you free, and it also allows you to be more true to yourself and more aligned and authentic. The Moon card presents in the month of November. But first, we see the Sun card in the year, telling me that you already know the tea. You already know on a conscious level, or perhaps it's a little more hidden in the unconscious file of facts, but you do know, you've been shown what you need to see. It's up to you to accept it or not, of course, but the universe has been working in your favor to expose what needs to be exposed to you so far. Take it or leave it. You'll never be forced to accept, believe, or commit to something, but you have been shown. And the Moon card now could be a couple of things. It can be denial, it can be repression. The Moon card can talk about repression because we repress the fears that come up in the Moon card. We ignore them. If you have ignored the call in June to set you free via the truth, and you are like, no, you know, you keep keeping your blindfold on that's been on you since April, then the Moon card is going to be more unsettling in November. It will be like, no, honey, we're gonna look at this, okay? It's for your benefit, okay? So the less you repress, the more you're open to facing your fears, your demons, the more you're open to shadow work, the more of an easy period this is going to be for you. November is going to be when the Sun moves through Scorpio. It's a wonderful time for shadow work. It's a wonderful time for facing what we regret, facing the mistakes we've made, facing how we messed up and fucked over that person. It's okay. It is truly, it's okay. Forgive yourself, forgive others. First and foremost, forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself. So that could come up for some. Other than that, it could be a time where the truth will out. We see that the blindfold is on some level in April for you. We have a figure here in the Nine of Wands. I don't know if that's a blindfold on their head. It could be just like some sort of a sweat soaking up material because this person is like enduring a lot. But if it is a blindfold, let's imagine that's pulled up and they're still a little wary the way they're looking. They're like looking over the shoulder with a sort of a little bit of not suspicion, but perhaps, you know, feeling a little threatened. But they're in control of that. It's like they're willing to look at it, even if it's like, oh, that's scary, that's threatening, that threatens my reality, or, you know, that threatens my beliefs, my opinions, whatever. The Moon card is like, okay, there is no more running from this. Let's face the shadow. Let's face the darkness. And the easier you can face the darkness within, the easier it is to face the external darkness and not be afraid of either. The Moon card, the scariest thing in the world is that which is within us. Like, it's not an external threat. What is this, nothing to fear but fear itself. Totally fucking true. The Moon card, okay, the Queen of Swords. razor sharp, clarity, truth bomb, no denying. It's like staring at it squarely, staring at it straight on, in a fearless way. So the Queen of Swords here is just like looking at a situation head on, getting straight to the heart of the matter, discerning the truth. Yes, we may deny things in ourselves or deny things to others. In November, it's a time where likelihood secrets will be coming out, truth will be revealed, your truth, other people's truth in general, whatever it is. Does this make you feel uncomfortable? Sure, maybe it does, but you're in a position where you've grown enough. Remember, the queens are growth. So we see two of them this year. We see the Queen of Pentacles and the Queen of Swords, and we see number 3, the Empress. So, you know, we're seeing that kind of like ability to face things. We're seeing the ability to look at something squarely and really see ourselves clearly. So the Moon card could just be some sort of a trigger warning. Yeah, trigger warning for November, guys. Okay. Come December, the 6 of Wands is quite a successful card. It's very much like, look at me, you're getting the recognition you want. The 9 of Swords, though, it's like, do you want it? The 9 of Swords is a feeling of like, oh, shame, or like, I feel bad that I'm doing so well. Like, oh, they're not doing as well as me. Like, maybe I should play small. This 8 of Swords, 9 of Swords, BS, quite frankly. No, you shouldn't be playing small. The Empress is like, as if. So the 6 of Wands is a very successful end to the year, at least on an external success, or like the ego is experiencing success. And remember, the ego is as important, and letting that play its role in your life is as important as kind of surrendering the ego and letting the soul speak. Let's just find a healthy balance between those and not really let either of them dominate in an unhealthy way. The ego is satisfied in December. There's a feeling of accomplishment, success, and looking back at your year really with like, wow, I accomplished a lot. I really did very well. And I believe that you will hopefully feel this way come December 2023. You know, the 6 of Wands is just like accomplishment, victory, acclaim, being seen, being recognized. But with that creeps in this like anxiety. It's like, and do I deserve this? Like, I don't feel comfortable. I feel worried. What's next? Like, can I handle this? There's a fear of success. There could be a fear of failure. The 9 of Swords is just here to remind you that, again, you're only human. Even when things are going incredibly well for you on one level, the 9 of Swords could be just this kind of niggling sensation of, I don't know, guilt that you're doing so well. Embrace it. Really, truly embrace it. I love to see on this version of the 9 of Swords, like these hands are just like being broken free of the ties here, the same ties that present in the 8 of Swords. In the 9 of Swords, you're like, no more. I deserve this. I'm the bomb. I deserve all the success I can get. And remember, even you don't have to feel perfectly happy all the time. Even if things are going really well and there's still something that's bothering you, that's perfectly normal and perfectly acceptable. What I like to see with these readings is just a transient nature. Now, this isn't going to dominate each month, of course. I'm just picking out some themes that may present themselves in the month ahead, remembering that things change. And the real cycles that I see enduring is a January, February, March cycle, and perhaps I see some link with June and July again, June and July, and then November with June and July thrown in the mix. But so everything changes, and nothing is going to stay the same forever. So I hope that this is a helpful reading for you. I hope you're pumped about your year ahead next year. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this. I'm going to link below your 2022 forecast just so you can compare and contrast and see if that was relevant at all. Take what resonates. These are general messages for the sign of Aries. See you soon. Please consider subscribing. Super helpful if you would. Mwah, mwah.